Oh well. Those days are coming.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Strathroy-Caradoc Council, Monday, April 7th, 2025. Your Worship, Colin Grantham, joining us remotely. The municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc acknowledges that it is located on Treaty 21 territory. We are thankful to the generations of people who have taken care of this land, including the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, the Munsee Delaware First Nation, and the Oneida Nation of the Thames. Our vision statement is Strathroy-Caradoc envisions a dynamic community where residents thrive in a sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous environment. We aspire to be a model of effective governance and community engagement, setting the standard for excellence in our programs and services. Our mission is to provide innovative and up-to-date services, engage in proactive planning for the future, facilitate partnerships, and advance community goals to create a vibrant and sustainable future for all in Strathroy-Caradoc. Roll call. Regrets is Councillor Wilsey. His Worship Mayor Grantham is joining us remotely. Other than that, everybody is present. On the approval of the agenda, I have a recommendation that bylaw number 48-25 and bylaw 49-25 be added to the consideration of bylaw section of the agenda for further approval. That's an additional bylaw that's just recently got added, or two bylaws. And then also that the council meeting agenda be approved as amended. Somebody to make those two, Councillor Brennan, Councillor Kennis. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you, and that passes. Any declaration of pecuniary interest this evening? Councillor Palmer?
Yeah, 8.5.1, I have an indirect pecuniary interest as BDO is a member of the Chamber of Commerce for which I'm employed.
That was 8.5.1. Thank you. Any other declarations of pecuniary interest this evening? None? Thank you. Presentations and delegations, petitions. I don't see that we have any. Approval of the minutes. I'm looking for a motion to approve the three minutes in front of us, March 17th, 2025, council minutes of March 13th, 2025, council meeting minutes of March 26th, 2025. We can do that all in one motion if you like. Somebody to make that, Councillor Kennis, Councillor Brennan. Any questions? Councillor Palmer?
Yeah, a correction on the minutes of March 13th, 2025. My conflict was with Adelaide Metcalf is because they're a member of the Chamber of Commerce for which I'm employed. It says that it's because they're a member of the BIA.
Oh, okay.
So that needs changed. Please correct it.
So I'll just wait for the clerk to make that notation. You're good then? So with that correction to the minutes of March 13th, approval to receive those minutes. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Kennis, any other questions? All in favor? Thank you, that passes. Then we have the consent items, item 6. There are a number of them here. Is there any of those that somebody would like to pull out and speak to? Councillor Derbyshire?
Thank you. Can I get 6.2.1 and 6.2.2?
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we'd like to pull out? No? Can I have a motion then to approve the communications 6.1 and 6.3, inclusive of their subcategories? We'll take 6.1 and 6.3 and receive those for information. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Palmer, all in favor of that? Thank you. On 6.2, 6.2.1, the listing of outstanding motions, Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. There's just a couple in here I would like to speak to. The first one being the one from November 18th, 2024 that is said to be completed. where it says staff is to work with Powell Group and neighboring landowners with which there are agreements and complete a third-party operational review and process the optimization. I went back through the February 3rd meeting. I didn't see a report on any of this. So I just wondered how this ends up completed, being that we've not received a report. I believe the third party is still doing reviews and looking at the automation process. And there's nothing with the discussions about the neighboring landowners. We just haven't seen a report.
Do you have a follow-up to that comment?
I just have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen that the director, Mr. Ortiz, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you speak to it, then we'll have Councillor Brennan, if there remains a question, follow that up. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire. It is also partially covered under another, the previous line item. There will be a report coming to council, so the previous line item does a direct, identifies staff to go through the treatment facility program opportunities and complete an operational review. So that's the same operational review we are talking about here. So it's just whittling down the line items so we have fewer items to report to, but it'll be effectively the same report.
Sorry. For clarification, that light item is the November 18th, 2024. Is that where council directs staff, or what line item is this falling under that's coming back?
That's the one, correct.
So we direct the staff to explore Mount Bridges wastewater opportunities converting to existing open aeration construction. We made, okay.
Do you still have a question, Councillor? Or would you like to change the status of that?
I just don't, yeah. To me, I would change the status of it considering we have not seen the report. The same one that was in the same motions is still active. So I'm unclear as to how this was made. Like, this was part of the one November 18th that is still active was what they were going to review and optimize and come back with a report. So I would think they would all be one thing, other than we haven't met with the neighboring landowners, which there's no report on that, and that doesn't really say that in the line above either.
Councillor Brennan?
I think that brings me to my question. For the November 18th, it says, I took it as a direction. Staff work with the Powell Group and the neighboring landowners with which there are agreements and complete third-party operational review and process optimization. I don't recall a separate report was requested. I guess that was my question. Was there a report requested with this, or is this just a direction that something take place? And I don't recall that we asked for a report. So that's what was my question. So
I just want a clarifying question. So if I can ask a question of the clerk or the CAO, when we are looking at these items and it says that, is that the actual motion, a cut and paste of the motion? Okay, so for clarification, we are looking at the motion that's been approved on the document. Somebody had their hand up.
I guess.
Councillor Brennan.
So I guess all we would have to do is ask the director if that action took place and if that action is complete, because I don't see a report attached to it. That's all.
Director Ortiz?
Through the chair, I can confirm that we have been in discussions with some of the landowners, and we've been working with them, the Powell Group per se, and that work does continue. We're still working on the operational plan currently, and as previously mentioned to council, we hope to bring something to council in the next couple of months. The issue we did have with the repairs at on the RBC, we may have delayed that, but we're still looking to bring something back to council in the next few months.
Do you have anything further to add to that?
I guess if you just put it all together, which you're saying we didn't, it was voted on 3 separate ways that we're to work with the POW group and the landowners to meet the agreements, and that council directs staff to continue exploring wastewater optimization and then come back and basically tell us what they found. It says, completing an optimational review of process optimization and conduct an inflow information study. So I guess you've got me on words when I made the motion. I would expect we were gonna see what we're asking them to do back, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that I wasn't clear in that, so I guess it's a whole lot of work for just them to have knowledge of, not council.
So if I just spoke to the CAO, I understand what you're saying, Councillor Derbyshire. Would it be best if we take that from completed and just turn it active, turn it green, and then when everything comes back, we'll still see that as an active motion?
That would be what I would like to see, is it as everything's still in active motion, being that we haven't seen the results of this, and I guess but it's up to the group. I mean, it's a council decision, obviously. If it was put through in these 4 separate steps and, you know, we're gonna say this one was completed, then I guess that's what it is.
So I would just ask them to the CAO, can we have that item that Councillor Derbyshire is speaking about just marked active and green, and then when the report comes back, it'll be all-inclusive of everything? Can you do that without motion? Because then we're adding to your list.
Mr. Chair, we can do that.
There we go. So it'll just be reverted back to remaining active, and we can follow it from there. You had a second question, did you? Councillor Derbyshire? Or was that?
I pulled the next one.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if anyone else had anything here they wanted to ask about, but that was it for me.
Is there anything else anybody wanted to speak to? Otherwise, we'll get a motion to approve 6.2.1, 6.2.2 then. Councillor Pelkman.
I believe that Councillor Derbyshire had a question about 6.2.2, and so do I, so.
Okay, who wants to take the floor first? Councillor
All right, thank you.
Councillor Pelkman.
Through the chair to the director, that was a good report in terms of seeing all the things that the Parks and Rec staff do that maybe we don't think about. You know, little things like grinding sharp edges off of screws and bolts so people don't cut themselves on playground equipment. And there was an awful lot of that on the report. So my question to the director is, at the moment, wondering how he's going to approach that. Can a lot of that little stuff be covered just under regular operations, or is there enough volume of work there that that's going to come back to council as one item to get it all cleaned up as fast as possible?
Director?
Through the chair to Councillor Pelkman, the majority of the items that you're referring to, we should be able to do within our operating budget. A lot of what happens with those small little things is we see them every day. It's like a skid leaning against the wall that all of a sudden is part of the wall. So it's nice to have a third set of eyes to come out and take a look at this stuff. So a lot of the items will be dealt with through our operations budget. There will be larger items such as swing set replacements and so on that are identified in the report that staff would come back to council as capital projects. Those are great projects where we might be able to look for partners with service clubs and so on to help execute those projects in the future.
Councillor Derbyshire?
Thank you. Mine was kind of along that line too. Like, I see where it says you're in poor condition, say with some playground equipment or swings, but yet it says just minor repairs as noted in the playlist. But if they're in poor condition, but then it just says minor repairs, and I'm just looking at this one, the playground equipment for, I'm gonna read what park it is. Lioness Park. That's $7,500. Now, that's for the climbing thing. Like I did read through it. I'm having a hard time matching up the poor condition and this with the price to replace right now, and kind of how it all works as, you know, and then it's just minor repairs. To me, when I looked at this, I was like, if you add this all up, this is some major money that needs to be spent on parks in our area in 2025. If you just look at that column, you know, this park alone is looking at $60,000 in what it needs, and you can just keep adding that up all the way down. Like, I just, when I see a report like this, I'm not too sure what we are we supposed to do all of this? Some of it? Like, what is our kind of responsibility to what's going on here? Should we just be removing some of this and creating a dog park, for lack of a better way of putting it? Like, I mean, some of this stuff, you know, the park itself is gonna cost us $60,000, $70,000. So, just going forward, how are we gonna tackle this?
Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire, even though an item may be identified as poor and then the play check reports it the minor repairs, we can do the repairs to keep the equipment functioning. Poor identifies that we should be replacing it sometime in the future. And that future could be in 2026, or that future could be 2027. A lot of it will depend upon funding availability. It's no different than the building condition assessments. As an example, it'll say replace windows. But you can still run a building with a window that's 50 years old, but it's old, it's in poor condition, should be replaced. If there's anything that's an immediate safety hazard, we would be looking at removing. So an example being, if there was a park bench that's got a broken board on it, that's a hazard and we should be replacing that immediately. That kind of stuff will come out of our operating budget. There's an item, and I don't know what park it is, but it says park fencing, chain link fence, very poor. It says replace. It's a $20,000 expense. We technically don't need a park boundary fence. We could just remove that fence to make it safe. Okay, so the intent would be to make the park safe and still usable without removing equipment in certain fashions. If it is dangerous, then we'd have to look at what to do to make it safe or removed.
Everybody. Councillor Derbyshire, I'll let you follow up.
So I guess that's kind of, I'll just ask the immediate question. These ones that are said to be replaced in 2025, if something were to ever happen, now that we have a report from a third party that says we should consider replacing the swings here for $50,000. Somebody gets hurt on it, are we responsible because we actually have knowledge that it should have been replaced? Or like that I guess is when I look at this kind of stuff. If they're leading us in this direction, you know, if something does happen, are we responsible for what's happened?
Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire, I would argue that we're always responsible for something that happens, whether the swing set has been identified as something that needs to be replaced or it's a brand new swing set. Why we have insurance. If as long as we're not willfully negligent, and we're doing our jobs, then we would be in a safe space. So this is again, I look at it as no different than a window in a existing building. If it says to be replaced because it's in poor condition and we don't, the window falls out and hits someone, no different than if the chain breaks on the swing set. So that's, we always have liability.
Yeah, I do understand that. I guess when we get to the willfully negligent, does this cover this when somebody says this should be replaced here? Are we being willfully negligent because we're being cheap and we don't want to do this? Or should the equipment be removed until we can replace it with the proper equipment that doesn't? Like, I realize we have insurance, we all have insurance, we hope for something that's not bad, but like I said, again, if it's been listed here, somebody can see this report, it's public, and their kid happens to break their arm on this swing set that says should be replaced in 2025, does that do more against us, I guess would be my point.
Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire, if there's anything that's of immediate danger, staff will either remove it or fix it. So for it being identified in a report that it should be replaced because it's in poor condition doesn't necessarily negate or take you right to willfully negligent. If there's an immediate hazard, such as I'll use a footing, a cement footing that's tied around a swing set post anchoring it into the ground. If that cement is exposed and not covered by safety surfacing, then that needs to be rectified immediately, either by removing the swing set or replacing the safety surfacing so it is in safe condition to use. Some of the swing sets will identify as poor because they're 30 years old, but the swings itself may still be in decent shape to function. Again, as long as there's no immediate hazard to injury, then we would not, the argument that we would make is we weren't willfully negligent.
Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, thank you. This is more of a comment to the community and than anything else. What I see here is a refresh list for Progress Through Partnership because it's a lot easier to try and get partners for playground equipment than it is for things like murals and wraps around electrical boxes. So that's what I would say. If there's a community group in the municipality that wants to do something, here's a ready-made list of items that need to be done where the municipality would be happy to partner with them.
I agree. With that, if there's no other questions.
The mayor wants to speak.
Oh, sorry, we have one more question. Your worship.
Excuse me, hopefully you can hear me okay. Council, if you can, just put your hands up. But I actually think Councillor Derbyshire raised a good point regarding liability, and I respect the opinion of Director Lilbourne, but excuse me, my ask is if the CAO could just garner some kind of a legal opinion on the matter of liability. I mean, for want of a small legal fee to have an opinion whether or not there is any liability, that would be my ask of the CAO. Because again, I do think Councillor Derbyshire raises a good point. We know about it, and sometimes inaction of any sort isn't the best course of action. So just my ask of the CAO.
He just nodded to me that he will have that done. So what I hear from Director Littleborn is operationally, you will prioritize those issues that must get done today and the ones that need to be done next week, and all the way down the road, operationally, you would be on that. And if you need money, you're going to see us at some point in time. With that, can I have, pardon me, I need my mic on. With that, can I have a motion to accept 6.2.1 and 6.2.2? Councillor Pelkman, Councillor Derbyshire, all in favor? Thank you. Communications. This evening we have 7.1 Strathroy Lions Club regarding the service club registration fee and Strathroy Lions Park Pavilion rental fee. You have the report in front of you. I did speak with Director Littleborn about this briefly this afternoon, and would you like to take a moment and make comment? Director, thank you.
The day I forget my water bottle.
Yeah.
So thank you, Your Worship, to members of council. The request in front of you is a similar request that came in last year. Council last year punted the report back to CDAC for consideration, and CDAC came back with a recommendation not to approve based on that if you did this for one organization, you'd have to consider doing it for all organizations. The difference with regards to this letter is they've also this year have included the Lions Park, or the Lions Club's Pavilion in Alexandra Park.
Thank you. I just wanted the history because I knew we had seen something similar in the past. Questions and comments? Councillor Kennis?
Well, my concern, I guess, would be the same one that was just expressed by Director Lilbourn, is that if we do this for one service club, and they do great work, but there are so many service clubs in the community that also do great work for the community. So I think if we do it for one, we have to do it for all, and if we don't do it or not do it at all, so that's kind of where I'm at, so.
Great. Question, Councillor Pammer.
Yeah, I'll also just add that through CDAC, if they were doing an event and wanted to rent the pavilion, there's an application process through CDAC where they could apply to get that particular fee waived for a particular event. So that's still another option for them.
Councillor Brennan.
I move we denied the request for the reasons given last year by CDIC and support that committee once again.
Thank you. Second to the motion. Sorry, second to the motion, Councillor Kennis. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Thank you, the motion passes. Sorry, I didn't say opposed. Bo, were you opposed or?
I was, but that's okay.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
You're
I am
opposed?
opposed.
Okay, thank you. I just
I
jumped the gun a
was
little bit
opposed
too
to,
early.
Deputy Mayor.
Sorry, and I forget to look over at the
Yeah.
screen, Your Worship.
Behind, yep.
Okay, so you have the vote recorded anyways. It passes. Reports from departments, financial services. So we have a Section 357 application. Director Dakin, are you speaking to this?
I certainly will put in an attempt, Chair. So, Council, before you is a report for the 357 application for 8779 Falconbridge Drive. They removed a house from that property. It was sent through to MPAC for reassessment. They removed $100,400 from the assessment to reduce it to the $10,400. The refund that would be given in 2024 because of this will be $204.87, and then this will now be part of their assessment for 2025. Using the 25 rate, we estimate there's a reduction on that property of about $1,200. Open for any questions if there is any.
Can we have a motion? The recommended motion is that the report FIN 2025-06, the Section 357 application in regards to 8779 Falconbridge Drive be received, and further that application be approved. Anybody to make that motion? Councillor Kennis, Councillor Hippel, comments? None? All in favor? Opposed? None. Carries. Building and planning, community improvement applications, April 25. I believe, Director Littleborn, this is your new area. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to pass it over to Sasha to explain the report.
Thank you. Aisha.
Thank you, Chair. 2 complete applications for CIP funding were received and made in accordance with the CIP application guidelines and policies set forward. So the first application before Council this evening is for the property of 227 Front Street East in Strathroy, applying for the additional unit program. The applicant is requesting support through the building planning permit fee grant, the construction cost matching grant, and the professional fees matching grant. The proposal involves adding 1 additional unit in the rear yard of the property and ensuring that it meets building code standards. A building permit and a minor variance application approved by the Committee of Adjustment on April 3rd, 2025 have been obtained, aligning with the CIP guidelines and policies. The applicant has indicated that construction will commence once Council approves their CIP application. The CIP committee recommends approval for 227 Front Street East application for funding through the additional unit program to the maximum amount of $18,377.52. The second application before Council this evening is for the property of 7842 Longwoods Road in Strathroy-Caradoc, applying for the additional unit program as well. The applicant is requesting support through the building and planning permit fee grant, as well as the construction cost matching grant. The proposal involves adding 1 additional unit in the front yard of the property and ensuring that it meets building code standards. A building permit and a minor variance application approved by the Committee of Adjustment on November 7th, 2024 have already been obtained. The applicant has indicated that construction will begin once Council approves their CIP application. The CIP committee recommends approval for 7842 Logwoods Roads application for funding through the additional unit program to the maximum amount of $15,830.48. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. The motion before us is that report DBP 2025-27 Community Improvement Applications April 25 be received for information, that the council approve Jason Hastings' application for funding in the amount of $18,377.52, and further that council approve Thane Odell's application for funding to a maximum of $15,830.48. Anybody to make that motion? Councillor Hippel. Councillor Kenneth, second. Questions? Councillor Pelkman.
Not a question, just a comment. You know, there would be people in the community probably wondering why we're handing out this money. And I think it's important to note that, you know, virtually everyone recognizes that there's a housing shortage of certain types of housing, and that, for the most part, would be on the lower end of the rental scales. And by doing these additional dwelling units and ensuring that they're done properly means that we can add units to that stock specifically for housing that's more affordable than say just putting up an apartment building, or say it gives people alternatives, and it's about ensuring that those alternatives are done properly. And this gives us a little bit of control and a little bit of incentive for people to do it properly.
Well said. Councillor Brennan.
With that said, my question, I guess, would be either to the Speaker or the Director of Finance. How much money remains in this fund for these purposes at this time?
Through the chair to council, there remains an amount of $1,152,491.23.
And the follow-up question would be, is there a deadline by which time these funds have to be used?
I can handle that one through the chair to Councillor Brennan. No, there is no deadline. Those monies stay in, and there are some, as we mentioned in the previous applications, there are some large applications still in the works, so that money will be there as well.
And one finally, just for their TV audience, and what is the source of this money? Where did it come from?
The bulk of the money was taxation, and then there was some money. So what we do is augment this with funds from land sales as well.
Any other questions? We have a seconded motion on the floor. All in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you. With that, we go to Community Services. Museum Strathroy-Caradoc 2024 Year in Review. Michelle Wright is presenting that, and I think she's joining us virtually.
No,
Oh, where? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I seen a different screen come up, and it's actually your PowerPoint, so I thought you were joining us virtually.
No, it's the PowerPoint that we've put together. Hello. My name is Michelle Wright. I am the curator over at Museum Strathroy-Caradoc, and this is Crystal Loist, our collections and research coordinator for those at home that don't know who we are. So, as it says in the report, we create a year in review every year for procedural and operational purposes, and which is attached here for approval, but we have put together this PowerPoint just to kind of give you a summary of everything that we've done last year. There's a number of other documents attached to the report, just again for information. This PowerPoint will specifically go over the year in review, as well as feature the Poppy project, which is in the year in review, but very briefly, there's a whole nother report just for information because it was such a great big project. So, just some numbers at a glance there up on the screen. If you take a look at the stats report updated that is attached, you'll see numbers going back 6 years. And you can see the trends of these numbers, which are all going up after the shutdown of COVID. So it's always great to see that, and we've actually surpassed many of those numbers that we saw before the COVID shutdown. There is one thing on this slide that I want to highlight in the top right corner there, under our volunteers. That is a picture of Crystal and one of our previous volunteers, George. George just completed his 1,000 hours with us, and he retired last month on his 80th birthday. He thought that was a good date to retire, and so we just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out, and he will be very much missed, and we appreciate really everything that he's done. On the side here, you'll see the list of exhibits that we have done last year. So there were 5 exhibits in our main gallery, 1 in our lobby, and then you'll see there 2 permanent exhibits. All of our exhibits were very well received. We had a lot of comments both on our traveling and in-house ones. But I want to specifically just highlight the permanent exhibits there. The first one, the Sittingham River, which is most lovingly referred to as our fish tank. We had the opportunity to revamp it because it used to say on top of our fish tank, sittinghamdiscovery.ca. That website's no longer active, so we took that opportunity to revamp it, and we were also able to get some new fish for the fish tank thanks to the Conservation Authority. So it's always a big highlight for us there. The second one under the permanent exhibits, the history of Strathroy-Caradoc, that is coming. It wasn't completed last year. We aim to complete it late spring, early summer of this year, but it has been a really great project. It will be in our lobby and feature the history of the area. Because our exhibits are constantly rotating, there isn't anything permanent on our local history, so this is a way to do that for people that come through. Yeah, so that'll probably be in next year's report once it's all done. So programmings, we do a wide variety of programs, and I cannot list them all on that slide. So we do everything from our exhibit openings to our summer camps to our artists that we bring in, and our summer camps, they are continuing to grow. We've actually added a new one this year, so we're really looking forward to that. And a lot of our programs are in big thanks to our additional co-ops, our volunteers, our seasonal employees that we're able to have join us. Last year we had a lovely woman named Sydney. She was a co-op student from Nipissing, and she was actually able to do our full March break program last year. We almost had another one for this year, but unfortunately they found a different co-op placement, so we didn't have our March break program this year. But it's really great when we are able to have those type of programs. Killian up there, he was our co-op student local high school one, and he was able to help us with additional programming for our Poppy project, as well as some online creation too. So they're always welcome and much appreciated. All right, collectional highlights. This is Crystal's specialty, but I'll just briefly say we had 25 new items, new to us. They are historical, accepted into our permanent collection. We are actively collecting museum, and so we are able to bring in some of these things. Those 3 on the screen are just a few highlights. Our collection is currently undergoing some changes as we get ready for reorganizations and new shelves, and we're very much looking forward to that, and maybe even by the end of this year we'll have some behind-the-scenes tours. But again, that'll be in next year's report when we finally have that project done. Next slide. All right, special projects. So we have 3 that I have listed here. All of them are actually continuing on until this year. So the first one there you'll see is the Middlesex Heritage Trail signs. Up on the top right there is what the signs used to be and what the redesign is. So these historical signs found in Mount Bridges, Strathroy, Melbourne, and South Caradoc are all being revamped. We're even adding a couple new ones and some new information to them. They're almost ready to go. They've all been printed except for the Strathroy ones, which have been sent to the printers, and now that the ground is warming up, we'll be able to actually put them in the ground. So we're looking forward to that being highlighted in our walking tours when they come back in the summer as well. The printing press there, again, really exciting. We're actually having it fixed. So our printing press from the used in the community in the 1880s, is finally being all fixed up, and we'll be able to use it in our upcoming exhibit, which opens next week. I will send out invitations. You're all welcome to come to the opening. The exhibit is called The Art of Printing, A Legacy in Ink, and we'll actually be able to use the printing press in the exhibit for programming, and we've even had some schools interested in coming to do that. So really great that that started last fall, and we'll see it come through this year. And then the last project there, the Poppy Project, and I have the next slide. So the information for this is in an additional report, but again, it was such a wonderful project, we wanted to highlight that. So thousands of hours went into this project from volunteers, staff, service groups, and our final number of poppies, but don't ask me to double count, is 10,152 poppies. And that is an extraordinary number considering we originally asked for 3,500. So the community really came out, really showed their support, and we estimate about 7,000 hours went into creating the poppies. That's not including attaching, helping put up all of the events that went around it as well. And we can say this is an international project too. We have 5 countries, and I've actually just been told of a 6th, of people that participated in some way, shape, or form. So again, that's really, really wonderful to see just how far this project went. Next slide. In the middle, on the next slide there, you'll actually see some of the places that I listed. The one I was just told of recently was that someone in Australia actually was able to participate through family that they have here, and they sent stuff. Now these are not all, they're people that chose to give their information to us, so who knows? There could be other countries on the list we're missing, but only those that chose to share. We were also in 12 different media articles and even highlighted by the MPP Steve on Queen's Park November 8th during his member statement. So again, that's actually on his social media. You're welcome to go and check it out. And we had overwhelming positive responses on our social medias, on the municipality's social medias, and just was really a great project. And it's still going. We only had about 4,000 attached last year, so what you saw wasn't even half of what we had donated, meaning that we have 6,000 poppies left that are still being attached. We are having attaching days the first Thursday of every month. We've already had, I'd say probably close to 1,000 attached between people that are even taking netting home and doing it on their kitchen tables at home. So again, community showing up for us and helping us with that, but everybody is welcome to come out and help tie a poppy. If you can tie a knot, you can help tie a poppy on. And so we're looking forward to this year's installation, which will be even bigger and better than ever. And on the last slide there, I just have pulled out a few quotes from visitor feedback that were some of our favorites. Overall, we generally have very positive feedback, but those are just some of our favorites, and I'll leave those up on the slide if you're okay with that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. I just want to say, before I put it out there, over 10,000 poppies is absolutely incredible, and I knew that you had a fantastic response to the appeal, which I guess goes hand in hand with how much the Legion means to this municipality, and Sir Arthur Curry, whose family still connects with people in this community. They connected with me and were telling me some of the stories about what the family went through in World War II. It was quite fascinating and certainly would be worth us documenting if we ever connect again. George, our volunteer, over 1,000 hours. Do you think George would let you say who George's last name is? Because he deserves recognition.
You work with more.
Yeah, so it was George Thompson. So he's a Strathroy resident, and he started in about 10 years ago, actually. So, and we had to pause, unfortunately, for COVID, but for 10 years he volunteered with us.
So, yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. So George, if you're listening, or if you decide to go on and watch, thank you very much. It's just, that's absolutely fantastic, so thank you. I'll open it up to Councillor Brennan.
Just a brief thank you. Our library, museum, children's play complex downtown, just right beside us here. It's a marvelous place on every day of the week. But I've really, in retirement, seen how active and busy it is on weekdays when normally I would be working. But it's really lovely to see the beautiful displays. It's a wonderful atmosphere. There's little children running around, there's seniors taking out books, there's people visiting, coming through to the museum. And it really is kind of a bit of a heartbeat of downtown. And I think it's really amazing that libraries and museums such as this, a place like this, it's a place where it's just anybody can go, everybody's welcome, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and people are smiling and really enjoying it. So thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor.
Thank you. Excuse me. The museum has always been a really big part of my life since I was a little girl, because my dad was an extremely historical man. And one of his big passions, and Councillor Pelkman knows this, one of his big passions was always the museum was just huge to him. And realistically, I would say half of our farm was museum worthy. Sorry, Dad. However, and I know that he donated a lot over the years, but it was one of those things that meant everything to him. And from the time I was a child to now with my granddaughter, the growth and the program, just how much it is just blossomed is incredible. You ladies and the volunteers that you've chosen that work with you, and everyone involved is amazing, and I thank you for that. And I do actually hear a lot from your children's programs. I am hearing a lot from the children that go to school, their parents, that they absolutely are very thrilled that that's available to them, where perhaps it wasn't many years ago. So anyways, thank you very much for that, and my dad would be absolutely thrilled if he was still here.
Your Worship, you have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It didn't get past me that there was a SDCI jacket in the museum. I will just like to note I have a 1977 Glencoe Gales jacket if you want me to donate it. It's been well worn and probably doesn't fit anymore, but I'd be more than willing to donate that.
You know where we are.
I could make comments, but I won't. Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, thank you. I have to say I'm absolutely thrilled to see the visitor count up over 20,000 again. COVID was a really big blow to a lot of success we had going, and I can remember the museum at the old location on Oxford Street, where we tried to do everything kind of mediocrely, and instead now we're telling stories properly and well. And certainly I know, working where I work, where all the memories are old, you just need to spark a conversation, and stuff starts coming out. And this is a great way to teach people about our history, but also get them involved in that. History doesn't necessarily have to be old; it can be relatively new. As the basketball exhibit, I think, proved that was all relatively new history, but very successful exhibit, and brought back a lot of memories for people who were there and visited the exhibit. So great work, keep up the good work, and happy to see those visitor counts keep climbing.
Your Worship, did you have another comment to make, or did your hand just get left up?
Sorry, I meant to lower it.
No problem. See, I was actually paying attention this time. So, in closing, Michelle, I don't know if you listen to council much, but frequently when there's this much conversation, we're debating something. So it is so nice to see that you and your staff bring out this much conversation on such a great topic. So well done to everybody over at the museum. With that, I'll be looking for a motion that reports CS 2025-01, the Museum, Strathroy-Caradoc 2024, a year in review be received for information, and that we approve the attached report 2024 year in review as recommended by the Museum Advisory Committee. Somebody to make the report, or the motions. Councillor Pelkman, Councillor Kennis. Any other comments? All in favor? Thank you. I believe that passes unanimously. Great. Thank you, ladies. Engineering and Public Works. So 8.4.1, we're going to spend some of the money after we put it aside in the budget. That arduous process. Here's the fun part where you get some new equipment. Director.
Thank you, Chair. So the report in front of you is recommending the approving of an award of purchase of a M7T trackless sidewalk tractor and an associated front flail mower attachment to Work Equipment Limited for $197,107 and $12,298. This was done through a cooperative procurement through Sourcewell Pricing. They represent government agencies, and they have special pricing from vendors offering the most competitive rates available. Trackless Vehicles Limited, their factory is in Cortland, Ontario, so these vehicles are manufactured locally, supporting local communities and economic growth. Both items have been allocated and are within the 2025 approved budget, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can we get the motions on the floor first? So recommended motions, you see in front of you, there's 3 that we received the report EPW 2025-17 for information, that we approve the purchase of the trackless MT7 tractor for $197,107.88 plus GST to Work Equipment Limited, and further that council award the purchase of a front flail mower attachment for $12,298.63. If we can get the motions on the floor first. Councillor Palmer, Councillor Kennis, questions? Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through you to Director Ortiz. And Mark, I apologize, I didn't get an opportunity to ask this question earlier. As you know, we have some narrower sidewalks in Mount Bridges, and we do hope to replace those, but will these be able to handle narrower sidewalks anywhere in our municipality?
Thank you. Through the chair, this is a replacement, a straight like-for-like replacement for an existing sidewalk tractor that will be decommissioned. So it'll have the same abilities as the current fleet. We do have, as you note, some sidewalk width limitations in Mount Bridges. We are looking to address that through our sidewalk replacement program on an annual basis. Short answer, this won't have any additional, no, this won't have any additional capacity, but we are looking at other options for those sidewalks in Mount Bridges.
Thank you.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. I understand the machine, the tractor, you need its replacement. The flail mower, I guess, is where I kind of go with. Well, I just wondered what the intended purpose of the flail mower is and whether this machine is designed for where a flail mower is meant to go. I believe my understanding of a flail mower is more of a bush hoggy kind of taking out larger things. I just didn't know if the trackless machine was the machine to do that.
Through the chair, yes, it is an attachment that goes on the trackless, and it is definitely a heavier duty, I like the word bushwhacking kind of attachment. So when we're doing heavier brush along roadsides to take that brush down, it would be much more than your average grass lawn mowing attachment.
Follow up, Councillor. Go ahead.
Sorry, maybe I don't know. The trackless machine is a wheeled machine, right? That pivots in the center with a cab on the front. Probably rough weight is very heavy, right? Just looking at a flail mower normally where we're headed with those in ditches and this that wouldn't be the machine that I would be taking down into the ditch and kind of wetter spots, but that would be my question just on the flail mower as to whether this would be an appropriate thing to do. I understand owning all the attachments is nice. I have that issue myself with the Bobcat, but you know, maybe this is somewhere that maybe we put this 12,000 into a V-plow that has hydraulic controls going in and out so we can adjust the width for these sidewalks that aren't as wide. Maybe that's where money is better spent to utilize our tax dollars. That's just my opinion.
Director?
Through the chair, we do have the V-plow option on the sidewalk mower, or the sidewalk tractor rather, so that currently does exist with this purchase. Reviewing with...
It adjusts? Or do we have just a standard V-plow?
It's a 5-position folding V-plow, yes.
Yeah, so then we shouldn't be ripping up grass on narrower walkways.
The overall width of that plow is unfortunately a little bit longer, wider than the 36-inch sidewalks we currently have. So there are areas where they do chew up the grass, unfortunately. As far as the flail mower attachment, this is what we've looked at and what we have proposed. Open to alternatives, but this is it's in line with and works with our existing equipment.
Can I just ask, Director, operationally, I'm sure you've looked at it operationally, this is the type of equipment that you need to do whatever operationally it is that you're doing?
Yes.
Any other questions? So we have the motion on the floor. All in favor? Opposed? 1. Motion carries. Thank you. Before we jump to 8.5.1, since this is our CAO's little segment, we have a new face in the crowd. We have a new chief sitting in the back. Just met him this evening. So, Mr. Browning, if you want to introduce our new interim chief.
Thanks,
Fire
Chair.
chief, I should say, since we do have a police chief.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my pleasure to introduce our interim fire chief, Brad Bigrig. Brad brings a great wealth of experience in the volunteer fire service. I've probably crossed paths with Brad over the last 35 or so years. We are that old, Brad, yes. The cool part about Brad is he started as a volunteer firefighter. He also started as a police officer, then saw the brighter side of things. Came over to fire, and he has been the chief in a number of volunteer departments, small and large, so he understands the value that volunteer firefighters bring to a community such as ours and the dynamics and the operations of the volunteer fire service. So look forward to working with Brad over the next 6 months or so while we start our search for our permanent fire chief, but glad that he was able to come here and help us through this transition. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. Brad, do you have anything you want to say to the community or council? Not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to do it.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Mr. Browning mentioned that I've worked in a number of municipalities, especially over the last 6 or 7 years. It's not that I can't hold a job. That was a career choice. I enjoy working with volunteer fire service, and I have a proven track record of helping things move along. Rob knows that, Mr. Browning knows that my view of volunteer fire department is all about team building and teamwork. It's certainly not an I sport. My job is just to support the team to get them where they want to be in the next 4 to 6 months.
Well, we appreciate you being here, and certainly I look forward to having more conversations with you. We'll talk about policing first, then we'll go to fireside.
Thank you.
Mr. CAO, you are up for 8.5.1, are you? Is this BDO?
Yes. So, Mr. Chair, I believe BDO is joining us. Mack.
There we go. Alan Mack, good evening. Thank you for joining us. And you have an update for us, I believe?
In a manner of speaking, Your Worship, members of council, subsequent to our last meeting, we sought to put forward a contract for phase 2. And as part of that process, we conducted our client continuation onboarding process. In the first phase, we did our conflict check for the current members of council and management for Housing Corporation and municipality. For phase 2, we expanded that search to include the persons of interest or parties that would be involved in phase 2. And that would be including former members of council, as well as the contractors, set aside the architects and financial consultants. In that process, we identified a professional conflict, and that is with Southside. We have or had a professional relationship with Southside, and there are professional rules. That means we have a conflict. So we reached out to your CAO, had a discussion. We advanced a revised scope of work and budget to carve out the work involving Southside, in which we're conflicted. That would result in a reduction of fees of $5,000. But I want to emphasize that we would still look at the procurement process, including the selection process of the contractors, management and oversight of the contractors for the construction. So that's what I'm here to report today and to seek your approval.
I think we'll move to, can we have a motion to receive the report, just the report first, and then we'll open it for discussion. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Pelkman, all in favor? Thank you. Open for discussion. Oh, thank you. Your Worship?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Actually, I'm going to make a motion to defer this, and I'm going to explain why. When we initially put this out for RFP, there was a second bidder. I believe that was MNP. They were willing to do the work. So before I make and the cost was substantially less, and I can't remember as to why we didn't go with them, but it's irrelevant. I just would like to defer till the next meeting and have the CAO reach out to MNP and see if they're still willing to do the work. I've gone around with this, as you know, Deputy Mayor and CAO. I've been all over as to whether or not we should complete this work. I do feel we need to complete it, but before we make a decision whether or not to proceed on the scope of work proposed by BDO, I would like to know if MNP is still willing to do the work. So my motion, Deputy Mayor, if I get a seconder, and I haven't talked to anybody about this, is to defer it until the next meeting to see if MNP is willing to now do the work.
Thank you. So we have a motion. Anybody to second it? Councillor Brennan, we have a seconded motion. So that would be deferring to the 21st of April to have the question answered. So, 22nd because of Easter. Thank you. To the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd, because of Easter. I'm not sure if that's debatable. Do you know offhand? It's not debatable. I didn't think so. I don't believe the motion to defer is debatable. It is not debatable, so we just need to vote on the motion to defer as it stands without speaking to the actual motion itself. So on that, deferring to the 22nd of April 2025 to get an answer on the MNP issue from the CAO. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposed? 2. The motion carries. This initial matter is deferred to the 22nd of April 2025. Once it's deferred,
I get it.
It's gone.
Probably just some things we should address before we.
So, okay, we move on. 8.5.2 temporary staffing requests. Well, Doug's going to carry it. Director Payne.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Good evening, Council. Report before you talks about requests for 2 temporary administrative assistants. Background on that, across the municipality, administratively, we're lacking, and we need support in various departments to support some of the initiatives that we're trying to advance into our customer service module that we're working on, in addition to other items across the municipality. Just want to put out there, it's for these positions would be 2 12-month temporary across the entire municipality, not dedicated to one specific department. The mayor's office or CEO's office, I've heard that, it just has questions, which is fair, but it is for the entire municipality. I would expect most of the departments would eat up probably 95% of the workload coming from these two positions. So in the report, I just highlighted various aspects of administrative support we're looking for. I'm happy to answer any questions as far as financial impacts. In the 2025 budget, $400,000 was allocated for additional positions tied to this service delivery review. So, thank you.
Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. Through the chair to the director, approximately how much of that $400,000 would you anticipate would be used up by hiring for these two 12-month positions? Because obviously, I don't want you to spend the whole $400,000 on 2 people.
Great question. We're just going through finishing up the positional job description. I would expect it's going to be a non-benefit position, meaning health and dental benefits. So I would expect it probably be in the $110,000 range for the 2 positions.
Councillor Pam?
Since you're presenting that they'll be somewhat floating temporary, who will they be reporting to, and who will be responsible for their work and where they work and their time allocation?
Great question. Thank you, Councillor Pammer. We've allocated them to go through the Legal and Legislative Services Department, just as a home base. Where they'll be located sitting-wise, we have constraints across municipality office space, so might be piecemealed around. Perhaps Community Services has a couple of desks that we could land them there, but the flow of work will report to LLS, but it would be allocated across the municipality as needed.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on Mr. Payne's comments, certainly in my first few weeks here, made some observations about some of the workload that the directors and managers are carrying, and much of it could be handled by administrative people. So therefore we started with this to look at the next year and do that assessment of how much work we can accomplish with those folks, and get maybe catch up on some of the work that we're not getting to right now that needs to be done as well.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Pelt?
I was just more of a comment. We had the list of reports that they're working on, and it's substantial, and we know that list has been substantial for quite some time. And I also know that a lot of the directors and some of the other staff have been working more than their 37 and a half hours that they're hired for, and we need to return some to a work-life balance that keeps those people employed here, and we don't lose all the knowledge that they've gained while working here. So I'm happy to support this recommendation and make the motion.
Thank you. So you'll make those 2 motions then that are listed, that we receive the report for information and that council approve the hiring of 2 temporary admin assistants for the duration of 12 months and direct the Human Resource Director to commence the recruitment immediately.
Yes,
thank you.
Correct.
Seconder? Councillor Kennis, thank you. Further questions? Councillor Derbyshire.
Sorry, thank you. I was gonna ask that maybe we could get something back to explain how many other, like I know we're looking at possibly adding 2 or 3 more positions and at what cost they're gonna be. Like I understand you probably need these people, as administrative assistants, but when we look at project managers and other people that were on that list to be added, I just thought maybe we could have had a more kind of wholesome report as to here's what it looks like, what we need to hire and sort through. what we need to hire, where we need to hire, and how we need to hire. Maybe we only hire one of these people because there's not enough money in the budget to get ourselves, you know, a good project manager, somebody like that. That's the only thing with this is, I mean, I understand they want it. It's just would have been nice to see kind of a follow-up with the whole, you know, here's the staff that was recommended, here's kind of in the order we need them, maybe here's why we need them. But right now, I feel like we're just gonna kind of get these two, and then down the road, we'll get the project manager, and then down the road, and then eventually it'll be, well, the 400,000's gone, and, you know, we need to approve a new budget for more people.
Mr. CAO.
Through you, Mr. Chair. As a matter of fact, Mr. Payne and I had that discussion today. We started on Friday as a senior team to look at the whole staffing plan and look at what the immediate needs are and what the future needs will be. We'll be coming back to council with a more detailed report in the hopefully not too distant future, with the first phase to look at those first few positions. But I can assure you we're very mindful of the amount of money we have to work with and the amount of work we have to get done. So we will come back with some thoughtful recommendations for council to consider within the money that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Follow-up, go ahead.
So then, could I ask for this to be deferred until that report is presented?
If you're asking for that motion, you can put that motion on the floor, yeah?
Sure, I'll put that motion out there.
Motion to defer it. So it needs a date to be returned to, that's all for a deferral. 3 meetings out.
Probably won't get seconded, so just pick a date.
Let's go 2 meetings out and then we can always, just to get the motion up on the floor. So the next one, we can, May 5th. Why don't we go to May 5th? Give them a month, they can come back and, if the motion passes, we'll hear about it again on May 5th. We may or may not have an answer.
Yeah, I'm just asking for it to come back, for this to come back when we get that report and understand.
Just the motion to defer requires a date, that's all.
Oh,
so I'm just trying to put that date on it without letting it go too far out that we lose track of it.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay,
Yeah.
deferral to May 5th. Seconder. Unseconded motion, so we'll go back to the original motion. We have that on, we've already had the motion made for 5.2, right? That we approve it? Yeah, okay, that's all right, so that is a live motion on the floor. Any other questions or comments about that? Councillor Kennis.
Well, just on this, I mean, I really read this as temporary staffing request, so I assume that if, you know, after the work to do all of this is done and there's not a need for these folks anymore, that the word temporary means temporary, so that's the way I look at it.
I would also, I'll just follow up on that, reminding, so the 400,000 was put in for the 2025. We're already 25% of the way through 2025, so it's probably be June before we see what the future potentially looks like, and then that has to get to us, approved, hired. So having more people in place in 2025, chewing away at the money that we put in the budget, starts to fade away because there's just not enough months left in the year. That's my thought. Councillor Derbyshire, yes.
Just to clarify that statement, they are temporary, but it does say for the duration of 12 months. So it does say for a year. It's not like if we decide in 3 months we don't need them, we fire them. Unless that is the plan too.
Can you answer that? Is it a 12 months, so it runs right till this time, 2026?
Yeah, so the questions are the contracts are 12-month temporary. All temporary contracts can be ended at any time. So if we at month 3 or 4, if we're out of work, we build the contracts to have an out clause that we can end them.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Belkin.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to add, you know, if you remember the report, we were a very lean organization. And if you're gonna ask our senior staff to step outside the box and mundane tasks they have to do on a weekly basis, like approve payroll and receipts and the other stuff that is their responsibility. And we're gonna ask them to step outside and reimagine how our municipality works and what's gonna get done. It takes time. And I don't want that done in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I want them to do it properly. And they need the support. Even I've seen examples of what the mayor's going through for Caradoc Housing to get a little bit of support that currently the legislative and legal services can't provide because they're maxed out. These people are needed, the work is there, and we're not gonna get out of the weeds to look at the positions that have to be hired if we can't get the directors free to start doing that work and start thinking about it.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Hold on, thanks. I just want to clarify something in there. The Caradoc Housing Board is a separate board, right? That's why they don't have the clerks working with them? It's not...
The legal advice that I've received from the county is that we are deemed a local board under the Municipal Act, and therefore we would fall in place, the Strathroy-Caradoc Housing Corp would fall in place as every other board or committee in this municipality. That's the legal advice.
So they can work for you, or they can't?
Yes, they can, yes. Be the same as Committee of Adjustment, Fire Services Advisory Board, CDAC, Museum Board. It's just one more board or committee. They're also then bound by all the rules and regulations of the Municipal Act, such as conflict of interest and pecuniary interest. Councillor Pelkman.
I was just gonna say, even if they weren't, we can still hire them to take minutes and send letters and stuff like that, so.
Any other questions on this? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Opposed? One. Motion carries. Thank you. Oh. County Council report. You have two highlights in front of you. Always seems to be something going on at county, but there is one, and I'll see if I can bring it back up. Something that happened on the end of March that is very significant at County Council, and that is our long-term CAO, Mr. Bill Rayburn, retired after 26 years. He started at 23 years of age in public service, and he became the youngest CAO, I believe, in the province, certainly in the county's history. I've always found him to be very, very progressive. He knew the job. He carried himself, I think, with integrity. I certainly enjoyed working with him. He was very, very helpful to Strathroy-Caradoc, as he was to all 7 municipalities that make up the county. So I just want to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Rayburn, wish him well in his retirement, and County Council will be dealing with the issue of interim, I believe, tomorrow on the agenda it is. So I'll leave it there. Announcements and inquiries by members. Mr. Pelkman. Come up that aisle and then we'll come down this aisle. How's that? Just for something different.
I think it's been years since I was chosen first.
You're welcome.
Just two items, both involving people that I think the community should recognize. Again, I feel like I'm always bringing up people that have passed away, but being the past president of the Arts Council, I think I would be remiss not to mention that Blake Hughes passed away, a colleague of Councillor Brennan's for many years. But I was always kind of thought that, he did that job by day, and then he still went and did it again on his own time with the Strathroy Art Group as a major contributor to it. And he was responsible for teaching a lot of people a love of art. So I think we should be grateful for what he did. And the other, on a much more positive note, when I was in high school, which is going back 4 decades ago now. Had the privilege of attending with Don Arnold out of Mount Bridges, and Don was elected the mayor of Moncton about 10 years ago, and was recently appointed to the Canadian Senate. So that's really big, I think, for Strathroy-Caradoc to have a native of Mount Bridges sitting on the Senate, and kudos to her for the hard work she put in over the years. She's fluently bilingual, which was definitely not learned here. And I know she was the executive director of, I can't remember what famous author came from Moncton, but of an annual festival behind the author, and that's how she got her municipal roots, and ran successfully as a councillor and then again as mayor. So congratulations to her. Happy to see her be successful.
I did see that in the news. That's incredible. Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you. I guess my inquiry is on the agenda here. Just in general, on the reports from departments, 2 of them we had to pull out. The other ones we get a complete report on. The museum thing, though very nice, to me it was a presentation, which should have been put in the presentations. Like I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what is going in this consent agenda and what isn't, and why it's in there, when we have 2 now reports from departments. One that we skip through if we want, and one that we have to listen to. Like, it just, I guess that's my question here. I'm baffled somewhat by this, like, you know, and like I say, it's nothing against the museum report. It's a great report, but it was a presentation with slides and everything. It just seemed like it should have maybe went at the presentation point. But that's just my question. I just wondered how stuff gets determined to go into the consent agenda.
I'll turn that over to the CAO. I'll tell you, like, on the consent agenda stuff, it's a process used to take things that generally are just reports, information to council, and move them along should they not require any discussion, and that's why we allow you to pull it out so that we can discuss it if we wanted to. So that's the purpose of a consent agenda. But other than that, Mr. CAO, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you've explained it very well. It's the reports that go in the consent agenda generally don't have recommendations. They're for the information and receipt by council. But really no action is required by council. Anything with a recommendation moves into the business area and is dealt with there. In terms of the presentation tonight, good point. We linked it to the report that came to council because we thought it was an important piece of the community that has been done very well. Those the 2 ladies who are here have put a great effort into making the museum a successful and educational place for our youth and our community to go, and thought it was a good news story for council as council supports everything that goes on in those programs through the budget and through other support. So that's why that was aligned as it was.
Anything further? No. Councillor Pammer.
Yeah, thank you. I have 2 things this evening. One is I understand that the county has approved a housing manager, someone to help encourage housing development within the county, and that position has recently been approved with the county budget. And I would just request if we could possibly have a presentation when that person is onboarded, so we understand a little bit more about what is happening at the county level with housing, and how, or any opportunities that this municipality might have to work with them. So that's my first request. And then the second is I just would ask the director, through the chair to Director Lilborn, if you could update us on the entryway signage that was approved during the budget, where we are with that.
Through the chair to Councillor Pammer, we're currently in development of the RFP to send that out to get pricing and award it. So We went out earlier in the year and then had some questions that we needed to answer, so we're in a bit of a rework of the tender. So that will go back out in the near future.
Somebody will speak to the county, whether it's the mayor or myself who sit at county council. More than likely it'll be the CAO that will speak to the county, and I'm not sure when that person is even going to be onboarded. So I can tell you that, of course, the county budget was approved at 4.1%. I should have said that in my other stuff, because it's a fairly important piece. Somebody was asking about it. I think maybe Councillor Brennan was asking about it, or whatever, in one of our other meetings. Councillor Hippel.
Thank you. Three things. The first one, because I mean, I can't get away from ever commenting on hockey, so I am going to say that congratulations to a lot of the Strathroy minor hockey teams, the Mount Bridges minor hockey teams, and the Blue Water girls teams. But first, because OMHA championships were this past weekend in Kingston, and then they do them a little bit differently than they had in previous years. And we have a lot of teams that have come home to Strathroy-Caradoc as champions, and that's quite an accomplishment of all age groups. So well done. The Blue Water Hawks had a big tournament this past weekend, and it was very successful. So congratulations to all the girls. And I wanted to say thank you to the recreation department, Kate and Nikki, because I went to their junior chef's night, and once again I was blown away by the junior chef's program and the abilities that the youth have, and what they've gained throughout this program. Whether it's just chopping skills, or it's cooking skills, or it's baking, or presenting and having conversations with adults while they serve them, which is, I know a lot of adults that really have a hard time talking to other adults. So, I mean, kudos to them. And what a great program. And I just, say, please continue this, because this is fantastic for them. And as someone that has a son as a chef, I would say, woohoo, all parents wish that. That's a really good thing. I do have a question for Director Lilbourne, though. I wonder, with the big, with the big flood that we have consistently, but this one was quite large. How did our Strathroy Rotary Park do? Because I know that we had just put down all the wood chips, had fixed everything, done all the work, and then all of a sudden, kaboom. I guess I could have done some kayaking on top of it. So how did that go?
Through the chair to Councillor Hilpel, there was a time you could have done some whitewater rafting in the park. Surprisingly enough, no doubt we lost some wood chips, but many of the wood chips remain. So with the water recede, we'll be looking at evaluating that park this week to determine what needs to happen. I have asked the supervisor of Parks and Recreation Facilities to do an assessment and see if there's any way that we may be able to raise that playground to maybe avoid that situation. The challenge there is we would be taking away storage from a floodplain, so I think we'd have a challenge with the CA on that. And then to keep the park in that area, it will always be in a floodplain. So it's a challenge that we have every spring.
Thank you.
Councillor Cass.
Thank you. I had the pleasure of attending a graduation ceremony at the Skilled Trades program up at the high school a couple of weeks ago. It was called a pre-apprentice training program, and it would have been a group of older teenagers, I guess, high school age, where they're making a decision, whether they want to get into skilled trades or not. And the program, of course, involves using the equipment, which was money generously donated by the province, and the program set up by the municipality, working with a company called TTG training, and Libero Credit Union also made a substantial donation to this pre-apprentice program. And so these young folks, half women, half men, 17, 18 years old, had the opportunity for a number of once a week for a number of weeks to learn how to weld on state-of-the-art equipment that's over there. And of course they all graduated, showed their projects to us, and it was pretty neat what they were able to do. And so these people now have the opportunity to try to start applying for apprentice programs in welding, and they're working with the community employment groups to try to help them find some placing. But I think it's perhaps something we should talk about more. Certainly the need for skilled trades within the community, and welders are in great demand and a great trade as well. So it was great to see these young folks very excited about what they're doing and what they've learned, and I hope that that facility gets used a lot, and that a lot of young folks are able to develop those skills and become skilled welders in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on that. You and I were at an event up there. I believe the mayor was with us not too long ago, and I learned something that day that I didn't know previously. That our very own Director of Finance, Mr. Bill Dakin, who is always so quiet and refuses to lift his eyes now, has been involved in that from day one, stretching back many, many years, and received a huge round of applause from the people at the high school that said that program simply would never, ever have occurred without Director Dakin taking that on and doing all their book work for them, and it sounds like a whole lot of other work. So I remember being up there, and Mr. Dakin, you'll never cease to amaze me as I learn more little tidbits about what you do in this community, and you do it so quietly. But thank you. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. Two items. One's an observation, the other's a question, but I was going to raise Blake Hughes' contribution to the community as well, but Councillor Pelkman, because he was going first tonight, got to do it first. But just a quick note, Blake was such a gentle soul. He ignited the love of art in his students. He was such a kind man. He nurtured people greatly. I think he might be best known for his paintings of lilacs. I don't know if anybody has seen those, but they were kind of his signature piece. And you see them around town. If we can ever pick one up for the museum or the town, would be probably a nice tribute to him. But such a lovely man, a real gentleman, and typical of many people in this community that you don't realize how big a role they play in the community until they're gone. So I think he will be missed. But I think many of his students maybe have been maybe they'll feel like they can follow in his steps and pass on his love of art. But a lovely man. Thank you for raising it tonight, Steve. Second one, more practical housekeeping. I think perhaps the time has come when we might want to consider electronic voting at council meetings. I've had many people talk to me about their frustration sometimes when they're watching online. They can't really tell what the vote was, or who voted, or if they voted, and all sorts of things like that. So I'm just wondering if we could explore what capabilities we have currently for doing electronic voting in a way that would show up on our feed when people are watching at home, and maybe even show up in the chamber. I think, although it might not happen right away, I think it'd be a lovely thing to get in place before the next council comes in. But I think maybe the time has come for that, because people watch these meetings and they sometimes just don't know what happened. And it would be great to see the names of the councillors in a red light or a green light. And I think that'd be more open, accountable, transparent. And I know there had been some talk, during the previous campaign for this council about having every vote being a recorded vote and that sort of thing. I think we could accomplish a lot of things with that, and perhaps the time has come. So I would just ask if it's possible. Now, maybe the CEO, is it possible for us to find out if we have the capabilities and just have some little report back on it, and no big time limit on it, just something to get done within the next 6 to 10 months. So that's just my little thing for tonight. Thank you. That's my inquiry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we can certainly look at what our system's capable of, and if that is something that's doable, we can bring that back to council.
Your worship, Mayor Grantham, you
Yeah,
have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and two county events, but they are locally important. And first note to Councillor Palmer, there is a report that came out in the county budget regarding the housing coordinator. I will share that with you and all of council when I get back from my vacation. But I've been involved in two county meetings that I think are important to the region. First, with regards to housing, myself, along with senior staff of the county, attended a regeneration meeting with London Middlesex Housing. As you know, there are a number of properties that they have in Strathroy, and it is my hope, and I'm pushing that there will be some kind of a project looked at in Strathroy. So I continue to push for that. And second, on Friday, I attended the county city liaison meeting with the mayor of London, a couple of councillors, our warden and the deputy warden. And I think as people will know by the reports, the subject of a ring road came up, and the county's position is this, and this is where it's relevant to Strathroy-Caradoc, is that we're not going to pay for it. It would be a provincial initiative. Reminded them of the importance of agriculture in our community. It's still, the entire county, it's still our #1 industry, but reminded them that transportation is more than a ring road, that we need to really take a look at active transportation, whether it's joint transit, and I certainly brought up the point about the traffic that travels through not just Strathroy, but Mount Bridges. So pushing on those initiatives at the county level. They are county-wide, but they affect Strathroy. And just a note to Councillor Derbyshire, I had the same question regarding the consent agenda when I saw it, so I did go online and Googled it and looked it up in a couple places, and that was the feedback I got, that it's items that are received for information. So my research made me happy, so I'm okay. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, for sitting in on my stand.
Thank you, Your Worship. I won't have anything more to say. Schedule of meetings, we see that the next one is Tuesday, April 22, 2025 at 6 here at Council Chambers. We have another regular meeting on Monday, May 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here at Council. And then the next meeting is again on a Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 6 here at Council Chambers. With that, this starts our in-camera portion. So council may move into closed session for the purposes of discussing the following. One item in accordance with the council's procedure bylaw to approve in-camera meeting minutes of March 3, 2025 and March 13, 2025. And one item pursuant to section 239(2)E of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and section 239(2)F of the Municipal Act 2021 as amended regarding advice that is subject to councillor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, bracket OLT appeal refusal of ZBA 09-2024 for 2226 Adelaide Road. I need a recommendation that we move into closed session at 7:38 for the purposes of discussing the following, as I have just mentioned. I'm not going to read it out again unless I have to. Nobody's forcing me. I need a motion, please. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Kennis, all in favor of closed session. Thank you. Just give it a moment. The cameras will go down on Melanie will let us know. Thank you. Call for the motion that open session resume at 7:54 p.m. Councillor Brennan, Councillor Hippel, all in favor? Thank you. Council met in closed session to consider matters it is permitted to do so under the Municipal Act and is listed on tonight's Council's agenda. The following items were considered during the closed session. One item in accordance with the Council's procedure bylaw to approve in-camera meeting minutes of regular Council March 3, 2025, and special meeting of Council March 13th, 2025. The meeting minutes were approved. One item pursuant to Section 239(2)E of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended regarding litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local boards, and Section 239(2)F of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. In bracket, OLT, appeal of refusal of ZBA 09-2024 for 22226 Adelaide Road, close bracket. Council received a verbal update. Direction was given to legal counsel. Council received advice from legal counsel. Call for a motion that the direction given in closed session be approved. Councillor Derbyshire, Councillor Pelkman, all in favor? Thank you. There's a final page here somewhere. Consideration of bylaws. Madam Clerk, up to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we have quite a few bylaws. We're looking for a motion that bylaw number 38-25, bylaw number 39-25, bylaw number 41-25, bylaw number 45-25, bylaw number 46-25, bylaw number 48-25, and bylaw number 49-25 receive first, second, and third and final reading.
Somebody make the motion, please. Councillor Pammer, Councillor Kennis. Questions?
Just a question on 48 and 49-25. They're added tonight. I think this is a change in how we're doing building inspections. Maybe just a little bit of an explanation as to why the change here.
Through the chair to Councillor Kennis, I'll step in, and if CAO feels he needs to add to it, he can. So we had a resignation of one of our building inspectors. Last day was to be on April 18th. They provided subsequent notice today at 1:30 that today was their last day. Then shortly after that, we had our junior inspector come forward and present their resignation. Last day to be April 28th. So we have reached out to Middlesex Centre to see if they'd be willing to help us with some building inspection until such time as we find our own building inspectors. We have postings already out in the marketplace today, actually on Friday for the one inspector, and then another one went out today for the junior inspector to close in 3 weeks. So we're expecting this assistance, 6 weeks to 10 weeks worth of coverage for us.
Councillor Pammer.
Is the county charging us for that?
Through the chair to Councillor Pammer, there will be a fee associated with the service from Middlesex Centre. It'll be an hourly rate. We used their services back in August of 2023, and the rate was, I want to say it was around $75 an hour.
Councillor Derbyshire.
I guess one of my questions go along with this, since we are now willing to use Middlesex Centre, why are we not using them instead of that firm we're using now as our, what Connor's role was?
CAO.
At this point, we're contractually bound to RSM. as our CBO, serving as our CBO. These are for the inspector roles that we require.
Yeah, I know this is for the inspector. I just was wondering if there was any chance to get out of that contract and get ourselves just with Middlesex Center for the time being to possibly move things along a little easier.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we believe that the termination clause is going to take us through a good period of this now, so probably we will finish this in good faith, and then we'll move on in the future to a different solution. And as well, Mr. Chair, we are in the process of hopefully, we're in the final stages of recruiting the CBO, and hopefully we would see that person start in the next few weeks.
And just remember, some of this is like employee and hiring.
I was just gonna ask how long the term is with the company from Cambridge.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe the termination clause is 30 days.
Thank you. So we do have a motion on the floor to receive all of the bylaws. Is there any other questions? None? All in favor? Thank you. That passes. And last one tonight is a recommendation that the April 7th, 2025 regular council meeting adjourn at 8 o'clock sharp. Motion, Councillor Brennan, Councillor Kennis, all in favor?
I'm so proud of that.
We're out during daylight hours. Thank you. Have a great evening.